Hello, Internet. How is everyone this lovely Sunday Mother's Day evening? Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, especially you good ones. Oh, I should have pulled up Donald Trump's post or tweet. Actually, I'm going to do it right now. The dude, all right. I actually haven't been super stoked with a lot of the shit that he's done so far in his first 5 months or whatever, 4 months, 4.5 months. But he's definitely the funniest president in American history. He's absolutely the funniest president we've ever had. So he just put out this post. Let me see if I can share this here. Well, yeah, I'll put it on screen, might as well. He can't help himself but talk shit to somebody like at all times, and it's hilarious. So he put out this post on Truth Social. I think it's real. I'm pretty sure it's real. It sounds very Trumpian. But he says, Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, including my beautiful wife, Melania. Many people have said she's the best mother, and I have to agree. No one does it better. I will even wish a good day to the awful Brittany Patterson, who uses her baby as a prop in Congress. You make $174,000, Brittany. I think you can afford a nanny. It's just like, why? Why was that necessary? It's so out of left field. That isn't even like a huge story in the news right there. She's been, going on the house floor with her baby and everything. And it's just kind of funny because she's definitely using it as a prop, but it's like not that big of a thing. But Trump just calls her out and talks shit. It's hilarious, like always. All right, Wally World, how you doing? Anybody, if you're here hanging out, drop a comment in the chat. I'd love to hear from you. I don't worry. I try to read all the chats. There's not enough for me to only read super chats. So, yeah, if you want to stop by, say hello. I'd like to hear from you. Got a ton of stuff here tonight. I'm going to start with the California stuff tonight because, I decided to do things differently. I usually do the California stuff towards the end of the show, but a lot of times I don't end up getting the California stuff, and that's what this show is supposed to be about: California shenanigans. So I'm going to start with that stuff tonight. Get through it, and then I'll get into as many other things as possible before we get out of here. But if you'd like to support the show, like, repost, leave a comment on Rumble, YouTube, or X, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll get right into it. Just more Gavin Newsom gaslighting, narcissism crap, and that's just how it goes. So we're going to talk about gas prices. I know, super exciting topic, right? We're gonna talk about gas prices. That's what we're going to get into right off the bat here. Let's see. Right on, Wally. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for stopping by. So Gavin, as you guys know, gas prices are going down throughout the country, and the price per barrel is getting cheaper throughout the country, everywhere except California for some reason. And it's kind of all along the West Coast. Washington and Oregon are very high as well. In fact, California, Washington, and Oregon are 3 of the top 5 most expensive gas prices in the country, all along the West Coast. What a freaking shocker. Where all the super progressive liberal maniacs are in control. And Gavin Newsom, not surprisingly, always tries to blame this on big oil ripping us off. So this is from like 3 years ago. This is December 5th, 2022, when it's good to go back in time because some people actually bought what he was saying here. And now, it's 3 years later and it's very, very clear what's actually going on with the gas prices. Let's listen to what Gavin claims is why our gas prices are so much more expensive here in California.
Big oil is ripping you off. $63 billion in profit, just over a 90-day period. This price gouging has to stop, and that's why we introduced a price gouging penalty here in the state of California. It's time to hold big oil to account.
So that's it. He references how much they're making in profit and that they're gouging California. Just California, though, guys. It's just California is all they're gouging. They must have a vendetta against California for whatever reason. Well, let's see what the facts are behind this. First, we'll talk about the taxes because if you guys aren't aware, we're getting it's $1.60. $1.60 a gallon. in taxes. I'm old enough to remember when gas was $1.60 a gallon. I mean, I was a little kid, but gas was under $2, and that's just what we pay per gallon in taxes, and it's insane. Not to mention the extra hoops that California makes oil refineries jump through in order to meet our California gas standards. Because not only do we have like the summer blend and the winter blend and all that kind of crap, we have a specific California blend because California has the audacity to think that we can solve the global climate crisis by ourselves. So this is California State Senator Suzette Valadores. I'm not sure what district she's out of, but let's listen to her. She exposes how well, this is from Wall Street Apes here. He says, go this one. Says to say California Senator Suzette Valadores exposes Democrats are secretly about to raise gas taxes again with Senate Bill 684. To say that this bill will not raise gas prices is not only absurd, it's downright irresponsible in the definition of gaslighting. This will raise raise gas prices. Here, government is here. Let's just listen to her talk.
I don't have any questions, but I do have some comments. To say that this bill will not raise gas prices is not only absurd, it's downright irresponsible in the definition of gaslighting. This will raise gas prices. And my district is a super commuter district. And maybe you can't empathize with that, but we travel hundreds of miles every day, spending hours on the road. We sacrifice time with our families. We miss school events. We miss kids' games because we live where we can afford. And on top of that, we already pay astronomical prices for gas. People in my district are paying $600 to $800 just to get to work. That doesn't include utilities, groceries, which all go up when the price of energy and gas goes up. Let's be clear though here. Government is who makes the most on a gallon of gas, more than $1.60 in taxes and fees. And that's not big oil, that's government. And yet, instead of addressing the real reason gas prices are so high, this is only gonna make it worse. We can't afford EVs in my district, the cost of infrastructure or the cost of buying those EVs or even the time. Working people are hurting, and this is gonna punish them even more.
Man, that was an awesome little speech she gave there because she touched on two major factors. How more expensive gas affects people that don't even vote for this shit, that have to commute much farther, is astronomical. You got all the people that vote for crazy progressive policies. The vast majority of them live in the cities, in the San Francisco Bay Area, in the heart of San Francisco, in the heart of the cities, LA, in the heart of San Diego's not even as bad, but Sacramento, and they can walk to work, commute to, take the bus to work, the BART train, all that stuff, and they could be to work within minutes. Then the people that keep the lights on, that keep the internet working, keep the electrical working, keep the plumbing, do your drywall, your paint, all that stuff, they're all commuting. I'm talking specifically here in the Bay Area, but it's like this throughout the state. But they're commuting from Tracy, like me, commuting from the Santa Cruz Mountains, where I work all over the Bay Area. I'm never in the same place. I'm in a different place each week, sometimes every day. And when I have to commute less than an hour, it's a good day. Like, I'm used to commuting an hour to work, hour and a half to work all the time. Not a big deal. It's what I do. Gas is insane. Gas is absolutely killing me. And if you guys knew the car that I was driving before it got out of commission, 79 Chrysler, because my lesbian Subaru Outback, the transmission blew up, and I've been driving that car ever since. I can't afford an electric vehicle, and even if I could, it's not like we're not paying 30 cents a kilowatt hour in electricity in California. So they're trying to get everybody to stop driving EVs or stop driving gas-powered vehicles, move to electric vehicles, and also get people to take public transportation. Well, we can't do it. And public transportation for us that have to carry, a truck bed full of tools or a van full of tools, it's not feasible to do that. And people that are commuting 2 hours every day from Tracy to San Francisco, Merced to San Francisco, that kind of crap, they're going to have to stop and charge their car. This shit isn't working, and it hits us the hardest. And there's another point that she mentioned in there that that was it. The cost of the electric vehicles. So it really hits the working class harder, and the people that are championing this the most are the people that tend to make a lot more money than the working class. The people that are completely disconnected from your average everyday person that does that, tradesman kind of people, and they live in a bubble and they think they know what's best for everybody. So let's go over to this is actually my post here. So let's just look at the numbers here. As of May 6, 2025, the national gas average price in the United States is $3.15 per gallon, while the average price of gas in California is $4.83 a gallon. This means California's gas prices are approximately $1.68 higher per gallon than the national average. Well, there's places where it's $5.50 a gallon right now. So I mean, you're looking at over $2 higher. And look at that. So on average, $1.68 per gallon, $1.68 per gallon higher than the rest of the country. What's the taxes per gallon? $1.43. So we're looking at what, like 15 cents? 15 cents is the difference that they're trying to point at the oil companies and say, look, they're price gouging you. It only makes up for 15 cents. And oil companies are going to have to charge California a little bit more because they have to have their special blend for California. Not to mention all the extra environmental regulations that California has for refineries, which is why they're shutting down. So all this crap. Bob Tiergarden, nice to see you over on Rumble. Pretty soon a good Tesla will be an option for people like us. I don't ever want to drive an electric vehicle. I don't like them. I like driving old cars because I'm a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist. I can work on them myself. I can usually find parts for them. If there's an EMP, they're still going to work. I mean, I don't want an electric vehicle that could be shut down remotely easily by someone in the future because you said the wrong thing on the internet. I don't know if that's ever going to get there, but I don't like the idea of electric vehicles being able to shut down remotely. And that's even new vehicles, gas-powered vehicles that, you can remote into them and shut them down. Yes, your car's computer works that way, especially if it is on a network somewhere. So I don't like that. I like old cars, and I wish gas wasn't so expensive because I like driving old cars. All right, let's keep going here. So this is about the refineries in Canada. If you guys haven't heard, the Benicia refinery is going to be shutting down by the end of 2025, I believe. This is from Kevin Dalton. He says 2 refineries leaving California due to sustainability issues could increase the price per gallon of gas to nearly $8. This is by 2026. $8 a gallon. There's going to be a price per gallon that's going to be my final straw. I've been thinking about it lately. Like, I don't know. The company I work for, I have the option where I can move out of state and still keep my same pay, likely. And I'll have to travel a lot. I'll have to travel back to California a lot, but I could live somewhere much more comfortably. I love California with all my heart. It's my home. I'm a trail runner. I love this place. I love the weather. I love the trails. I love the nature. Even a lot of the people. I don't know how much longer or how much worse things can get, and I can just keep rolling with the punches because no matter how much I make, everything gets that much more expensive. It's like never getting a raise. Your how much you're paid never keeps up with the cost of inflation and the cost of gas and rent and electricity and all of that stuff. Food. It doesn't keep up with it. So let's just go to this quick clip from Fox News 11 here. This is out in Southern California.
Oil company Phillips 66 says it will close its LA refinery by the end of 2025 because of what the company calls sustainability concerns.
So the Benicia plant up here in Northern California and the Phillips 66 plant are both closing down in the next 2 years. That's insane. I dove deep into this a couple episodes ago. But that's got to be like what, 40% of our refining supply? This is insane.
The refinery includes this facility in Wilmington and another facility in Carson. The closure will impact around 600 employees and 300 contract workers. Despite the closure, Phillips 66 will continue to supply fuel to California from other sources. Oil company.
And this is all because of policy. I was just listening to a guy talk about this right now, a couple of hours ago, and they have to weigh how much money they can make per gallon of gas because so Phillips 66 is dealing to Phillips 66 stations, so like Chevron has their own refineries. They go to their own gas stations. The different refineries distribute to different gas stations. So if if your costs determine that you have to charge $6 a gallon, but the refinery across the street from you or the gas station across the street from the gas stations that you distribute to is charging $1 less, well, you just have to eat that. You can't just charge $6 an hour because now you're not competitive. Everybody's going to go to the other gas station. So the more California puts restrictions on these refining companies, the more it costs them, but they can only go up so much. And so it's actually the opposite of what Gavin Newsom's saying. The government is gouging the oil companies, and the oil companies are just eating it. And that's why they're just like, all right, we're done. We're leaving. We can't do this anymore. We're not making a profit. We're not making enough profit. Gavin says 13 billion over the last 3 months or whatever. It's so ironic. It's almost funny how he talks about the profits and the price gouging of oil refineries when they're wasting billions and billions of dollars every month on the California high-speed rail, offshore wind projects, sustainability projects, the homeless industrial complex. Nobody knows where any of the money's going. Nothing ever gets better, and they just keep wasting billions and billions and billions of dollars, and there's no accountability. Yet he wants to hold the oil refineries accountable or big oil accountable when it's actually not even them doing it. It's just more California government bureaucracy bullshit. Sorry, guys. It gets me worked up. It gets me worked up, you guys. All right, we'll keep going here. So this is over in San Francisco, I believe. Maybe it's LA, but this is $7.79 a gallon over here. Let's see where it is.
Drill, baby, drill, huh? Whatever happened to lowering those gas prices, Donald? We need some.
Well, I live out here in Houston, Texas. And if you look, gas is at $2.59 out here in Houston. So if I was you guys that's out there saying drill, baby, drill, and questioning, understand that California, the only state paying that amount of money for gasoline. Even in New York City, they're paying $2 and probably 50 or 60 cents per gallon. So my advice, either move to California or stop complaining about Trump and talk about your governor and deal with him.
It's insane to me that there's still people in California that think Donald Trump has anything to do with the gas prices in California. And gas prices are coming down in the rest of the country. They want to blame Donald Trump for everything, as you can see Gavin doing right here. So here's Gavin talking about why everything's so expensive because of Trump's tariffs.
California is now the fourth largest economy in the world. Innovation, manufacturing, agriculture. And we've done it by reducing trade barriers and delivering for American consumers. But the Trump administration is putting all of that at risk, halting delivery of essential goods through our ports. Today, it's school backpacks. In a few months, it'll be Christmas toys. These tariffs punish families and risk ending America's run as the world's greatest economy. Take it from California. We're the ones leading it. California's.
I hate him. I hate him so much. Can any of you guys listen to him talk with that cheesy music in the background blaming everybody to himself and not want to do something that I'm not allowed to say on the internet. I can't stand this guy. We'll keep going. How everything is out of control in terms of price here, particularly gas and electricity. And he has the audacity to say that Trump's tariffs are what's going to hurt California's economy. It's California policy. It's always been California policy, and it's just getting worse. So there's another one from Wall Street Apes here. We're going over to PG&E now, which Californians have to go with PG&E up here in Northern California, at least. That's Pacific Gas and Electric. It's a monopoly. All of these giant electrical companies go and lobby the California government to, make it so they can increase their prices per kilowatt hour, and we have no other option. We can't go with any other electrical company. We have to go with PG&E. It's just a giant monopoly. There's no competition, and we just have to pay it. We just have to pay whatever they say we have to pay, and it's like 30 cents a kilowatt hour here. So there's some Wall Street Apes. It says California energy companies are Democrat mega donors. PG&E even paid to stop Gavin Newsom's recall. That's true. They donated towards his recall. Resident California power companies are absolutely crucifying us with their rates. I'm going to post my rates on my house. This is my house right here for the last month, and I want in the comments you to tell me what you think about it. This bill is criminal, so I'll pause it at what his rates are.
California power companies are absolutely crucifying us with their rates. I'm going to post my rates on my house. This is my house right here for this last month. And I want in the comments you to tell me what you think about it.
Bob Tiergarten, $355 here in Pittsburgh. Are you saying Pittsburgh, California, or Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? I'm curious, because that would be pretty low in Pittsburgh, California. That's like north of Oakland, northeast of Oakland. Wally World, 274 today in South Carolina. I would kill for that. I'm paying double that. Freaking double that. It's unbelievable. So let's look at this guy's breakdown of his electricity. Distribution is $459 for the month. Guy didn't look like he had a huge place. Interstate transmission fee is $27. State transmission fee is $26. Competition transition charge. What is that? Competition transition charge, $468. That I don't know what that is, but that's a giant charge. Market price is 29 cents a kilowatt hour. That's what he's paying, 29 cents a kilowatt hour. It's freaking bonkers. Public purpose, whatever that is, $64. Late payment charge, okay, that's on him, $16. State energy tax, state energy resource tax, the $1.41. So the $468 and the $459 is like where it's out of control. That's bonkers. So I asked Grok. I asked Grok to create a list of highest electricity prices to lowest electricity prices in the country by state. So the only state ahead of us for electricity prices is Hawaii, which to be expected. They're a freaking island. And wow, they're insanely pricey though. That's 42 cents a kilowatt hour. High cost due to reliance on imported petroleum and isolated island grids. North side, I can give you like $5.29 in my local Chevron, but it usually gives me $20. So yeah, I do the whole Safeway thing too. Chevron give you like 20 cents off per gallon. Bob over in Pennsylvania, yeah, that's still expensive though. $3.55 a gallon. I mean, Wally World over here on YouTube, $2.74 today in South Carolina. That's bonkers. That's so cheap. Northside in Minecraft, of course. That's funny. So California, is 31 cents per kilowatt hour. And Connecticut's pretty bad, 29 cents. Massachusetts is 28 cents. Can't blow this up anymore. Well, I can make it a little bigger. Here, we'll do that. There. So if you guys want to read. Yeah, there's so Alaska is 25 cents. I mean, I guess that makes sense. They got hydrothermal and stuff out there. And then if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, North Dakota, 10 cents a kilowatt hour. So they're paying a third of what we're paying here in California. Nebraska, 11 cents. Utah, 11 cents. Washington, what? Not DC. Washington is only 11 cents. Like, why? Why so much cheaper? Just what? 600 miles north of me. Why? Is it even 400 miles north of me? However far it is. And Oregon right above us, 13 cents. Why is our electricity so expensive, California? Oregon and Washington, which their gas prices are comparable to California's, but their electricity is like a third of what we're paying. Wow. Why? Why is Oregon and Washington's electricity so much cheaper? I mean, it would actually make sense to buy an electric vehicle up there. Yeah. So frustrating. All right, we'll keep going here. So let's go with California Globe. So the California Globe here, and this is you know what? I think I skipped a something I wanted to talk about for the gas prices, because I looked up California gas prices, and okay. So here, I want to share this. So same thing. I asked Grok to order most expensive gas prices to least expensive gas prices by the state. And California's gas is even more expensive than Hawaii. $4.84 a gallon on average. So that's including, the places in the middle of nowhere, California, that they have a little bit cheaper gas. I mean, we're paying. I got gas today, and I don't even look anymore. But it was above $5. It was probably closer to $5.50 a gallon. Yeah, so 3 of the top 5, California, Washington, and Oregon, all along the West Coast. So Washington is $4.29 a gallon, and Oregon is $3.89 a gallon. So Nevada's up there too. So Nevada and Hawaii are also up there. But I mean, almost take Hawaii out of the picture, and California, Oregon, and Washington are the top 3 most expensive. Nevada's ahead of Oregon, but yeah, it's insane. California and Washington are also the states that are talking about charging drivers per mile that they drive. And that was another thing that factored into the whole Real ID thing, because a lot of people are asking, like, how are they going to check how you're driving? How are they going to check how many miles that you're driving? Well, your Real ID has RFID chip in it. It's connected to your name. I mean, that could be potentially one way that they do it, or you have to get a device that you put in your car, and that information is connected to your driver's license in some way. So it's just a thought that I had not too long ago. All right, shift gears a little bit. So this is and it's like, how do we fix this, right? How do we fix the gas prices? How do we fix the electricity prices? How do we fix the sanctuary state problems, the transing the kids in the schools, and the homelessness, handing out fentanyl needles? How do we fix all this shit? Because we got radical progressives that are completely controlling our state. Seems like we have no recourse, and elections don't require ID to vote. You have 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks to count the votes. You've got universal mail-in ballots, ballot harvesting, all sorts of different ways that make the elections less secure, that make it easier to rig. And it's like, well, how do we fix, if the election's a rig, how do we possibly fix this? So there's a push to get voter ID on the ballot, but I mean, I don't want to be black-pilled, but it seems it seems that there's no way to overcome all these different things in the elections. I mean, unless it's just a majority of California, like 70% of California decides to vote red because they can only cheat so much, right? Oh, got a sneezy dog back there. All right. Well, the California Globe, well, not them. Somebody conducted a poll, and it says new poll finds the majority of Californians want proof of citizenship requirement when registering to vote. 71% of Californians want proof of citizenship. 54 want proof before every election. Oh, okay. 71% want proof of citizenship for first-time registration. 54%, still a majority, want proof before every election. I want proof before every election, for sure. So, according to the UC Berkeley Institute of Governmental Studies, so UC Berkeley, highly leftist, poll released on Friday, the vast majority of Californians want to have proof of citizenship requirement when registering to vote for the first time. So this is very similar to, I think it was Prop 36, Prop 34, and that was the proposition on our last ballot that would essentially get rid of, I don't even remember what proposition was, but it made theft of $950 or less a misdemeanor, which meant petty crime skyrocketed. Theft in retail stores skyrocketed. And that was put on the ballot to change that, to make that a felony, and other things too, like open air drug use and things like that. And it was portrayed as this far right proposition that, was supported by Donald Trump and all this. Something like 75% of Californians voted to, yes, we need to stop all this retail theft and things like that. So this is the same thing. I guarantee you, this will be spun like providing proof that you're a citizen before you vote is going to be framed as some far right-wing, MAGA, racist proposition that they want ID to vote. Guarantee it's going to be framed like that. And then you look at it and 71% of Californians want people to prove that they need ID to vote. So that's clearly Democrats. Clearly Democrats even want this. So keep reading here. But they want to do it with the real ID, which just pisses me off. The IGS poll found that 71% of Californians want proof of citizenship requirement for the first-time voter registration, with proof being a passport, real ID, driver's license, or some other form of government-issued ID. Okay, so a passport too. Only 24% opposed to such a policy. 5% in total showed no opinion. When broken down by the party, 95% of Republicans approved of the policy. What's up? What 5% didn't? That's just weird. Followed by 71% of no party preference and 59% of Democrats. So it's still like only 59% of Democrats want proof of citizenship in order to vote. Like, why is it so low? Like, do that many people really believe that it's racist? Do that many people really believe that it's racist to require proof of citizenship in order to vote? Like, just remember what they say. Oh, it's harder for people like minorities to obtain a driver's license. They really say that, showing how racist they actually are. It's the whole bigotry of low expectations thing. Oh, black and brown people, it's hard for them to get IDs. It's hard for them to get to the DMV. Go ask one of your black friends if they have their ID. I'm pretty sure they're going to have it. Ask any of your non-white friends if it was hard for them to get an ID. It's like when Kathy Hochul said that black and brown people don't know what the internet is. You guys remember that? That was freaking when the guy made the video of himself like hopping around the computer. Never mind. That was a funny video. All right, we'll keep going here. Things slightly shifted with the next question, which asked of requiring proof of citizenship before each time they voted. A majority of Californians approved again, although this time it was only 54% in favor and 41% against. 5% opinion, 5% no opinion. 88% of Republicans approved of proof before every vote. So that's still rather high, but only 54% of no party preference and 37% of Democrats. So yeah, Democrats are. You can't even like California Democrats should be in a classification of their own because they're absolutely insane, especially like the hardcore California Democrats. Old, wealthy, boomer California Democrats are some of the most disconnected from reality people that I've ever met. Like boomers that have owned their own home, bought it when it was $60,000 and now it's worth $3 million. That, yeah, have been registered Democrats all their life and, think it's harder for black people to get IDs. Think that it's fine if a man competes against women and shares locker room space with them. They are the most disconnected people from reality, and I can't even have conversations with them. And they're the most judgmental too. Like they won't even hear you. You'll be getting along with them great, and then they'll find out like, oh, you voted for Trump, and all of a sudden they'll demonize you and make you out to be as if you're like the worst person in the world. That's how California Democrats are. The most surprising question of the poll asked if respondents approved of having the state prohibiting the counting of mail-in ballots after the election day, even if they are postmarked by the election. Okay. Here, 26% of Californians approved as opposed to 68% against. By party, only the Republicans brought a high amount in favor of the change, 57%. Conversely, only 23% of no party affiliate, blah, blah, blah. So this is if the voting the designated time to count has passed, no more counting ballots. I say get rid of mail-in ballots altogether. Everybody should have to vote in person. I mean, there's absolutely no reason why we can't count votes within 24 hours. What's screwed up too is like it makes it longer to count the votes as mail-in ballots because they have to do the signature matching. They have to match the signature from the envelope to the ballot, and they end up taking 3-4 weeks past when they're supposed to count it anyway. If everybody did in-person voting, we can't count in 24 hours. Well, you don't count in 24 hours now as it is. So what's the difference? It's only going to make things faster and more accurate. Like somehow, like they got everybody to agree with universal mail-in ballots during COVID. Like that's when this started. This isn't something that's been happening for a long time. People will try to conflate the absentee ballots thing where you needed a reason, like you're overseas in the military or you're overseas on business, and you apply for an absentee ballot, which ended up being like less than 5% of the overall ballots. Now everyone in California gets mailed a ballot. Everybody that's registered gets mailed a ballot. Even people that are no longer living in the state. Some people that aren't even citizens and just happen to get registered on accident because the DMV automatically registers everybody to vote, and the DMV, you can get a driver's license if you're not a United States citizen here in California. So COVID happens. They use the excuse, we can't have people next to each other. Social distancing. Everybody get your vaccine. Oh, yeah, we need to get everybody mail-in ballots so nobody's next to each other, spreading their COVID all over the place. And it stayed. It just stayed. That's what they do. They use an emergency situation to shoehorn something in there, and then it just stays in perpetuity for forever. It's like it boggles my mind how nobody seems to have any issue with, we're just a universal mail-in ballot state now, all over. Ever since I was a kid, I remember them talking about the easiest way to commit voter fraud is with absentee ballots. And those were like the last ballots counted in the past. And the universal mail-in ballots thing to me is as big, if not bigger deal than requiring an ID for voting. I think mail-in ballots are easier to commit fraud than not requiring ID to vote. I actually think universal mail-in ballots are a bigger problem than the ID thing. Both giant problems, but that, and then obviously ballot harvesting. Ballot harvesting is a big deal too. Can you guys see my dog? You're an idiot. Look at you. I don't know if you guys can see my dog. She's losing her mind back here. Okay, we'll keep going. We'll keep going. I'm a little fired up. I get upset. I get worked up about these things, you guys. All right, let's keep going here. That's enough of this article. You guys get the point. Majority of Californians approve of requiring ID to vote. Vast majority of Californians. Okay, so this is about. They all make me mad. All the things make me mad. I need to start mixing in a happy story, because by the end of the show, I'm just too angry. Not angry, just like black-pilled. Yeah, I think I need to start doing that. I need to have like segments, like a nice story that talks about like a dog getting rescued or something like that. Okay, let's keep going here. This is about fraud with the homeless, non-governmental organizations, the NGOs that get taxpayer money to do things. And then you're like, where'd all the money go? Why are all these people dying on the streets from drugs? And why are we giving them crack pipes and fentanyl needles? But anyway, let's go over to this. So this is from Wall Street Apes. This is actually from I don't know if you guys follow this guy. I can't even remember his name. This is kind of what bugs me about Wall Street Apes sometimes, is he doesn't give credit for the person that made the actual video. And now I forget this guy's name. I think his name is James something. But this is about California homelessness. California's homeless executive, making over $430,000 per year, funneled millions of dollars into her husband's NGO 3 separate times, and has taxpayers pay for her open bars at her party. She paid $800,000 to silence whistleblowers. This is her name is Dr. Valencia Adams Kellum. Valencia being 2 different words. Her name is Valencia Adams Kellum. What a name. She's a former CEO of the LA Homeless Services Authority. Okay, she paid herself a monstrous salary of $430,000 a year. Then she funneled millions into her husband's sham organization, allegedly 3 separate times. She also really tried to boot. Okay, let's watch the video. Yeah, she threw a party where she was like an open bar, and she paid tons of money for that. And then when the person called her out on it, she had her fired. So let's go to this video here.
Hope this woman enjoyed herself with their beautiful necklace, dress, photo shoot, because she about to go to jail. If you don't know who that was, her name is Dr. Valencia Adams Kellum. She's the former CEO of the LA Homeless Services Authority. Yes, this is a person who supposedly administers homeless services in California. She was recently forced to resign, though, after her mega agency failed multiple audits. She says, I don't know where or how we spent billions of dollars. Oh, trust me, we know. It's going right here. This necklace is obscene. I mean, I don't know anything about pearls, but this has got to be maybe $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 right here. So how did she get that money? Well, first off, she paid herself a monstrous salary, $430,000 a year. Then she funneled millions of dollars into her husband's sham organization, allegedly, 3 separate times. She also really tried to booze it up at her holiday party by demanding that taxpayers pay for her open bar. And when an associate of hers said that, hey, that is an improper use of public funds, she got visibly angry and then terminated her employment. This is not only very petulant behavior, but also very illegal. After that, she started hiring her friends with whistleblowers, alleging that she pushed out staff, experienced staff, to hire unqualified friends and former subordinates from her previous job into high-level, high-salary positions within the LA Homeless Services Authority. And when people caught wind of this and started reporting, she tried to cover her tracks by destroying public records and also arranging to pay hush money, $800,000 to silence whistleblowers. $800,000 of your money. Yeah, I think it's time to start selling off some of these pearls, girl, because you're going to need that money. The last thing I'll say, and this part is serious, is that the only reason why we know about any of this stuff is because there are still some great local reporters on the ground who still believe in real journalism, pieces that I've cited in this video, as well as brave whistleblowers who still know right from wrong. Thank you guys. You guys are the real heroes.
So this is going on all over the place. San Francisco as well. The Glide organization, another NGO that gets paid tons of taxpayer dollars. They have a CEO of their nonprofit. That's what's funny too, is they call it a nonprofit, and they do the exact same thing. It's money laundering. And again, even if they weren't doing money laundering, It's an organization whose existence is justified by there being a homeless problem. Then those people are given the task of solving the homeless problem. Why would you solve the homeless problem if the existence of a homeless problem is what justified your whole organization even being around? There's no incentive for them to actually solve the problem. On top of that, they're given tons of money and probably like, hey, we don't need all this money. Fentanyl needles and crack pipes are actually pretty cheap. So, and people don't want tents. So we got all this extra cash. How are we going to launder it and put it back into our own pockets and buy extravagant pearl necklaces? It's so blackpilling, you guys. It's so blackpilling. And then there's the soft on crime aspect of California stuff. So here's a video from this is what, ABC 7, and this is from Kevin Dalton here. He says, "Remember the dude that attacked nearly a dozen women in their cars a few years ago and was released from prison less than a year into a 5-year sentence despite pleas from his victims? I hope you're sitting down, but he just attacked another woman and baby in a road rage attack." So this guy, used to get road ragey with people, get in front of them, bring his car to the stop, jump out of the car, and then attack people's cars. Always seemed to be women for whatever reason. They gave him a 5-year sentence. He served, I think, less than a year of it. Yeah, less than a year. And he moved to Hawaii. And guess what? He's doing the same thing. I think this is Hawaii. Maybe this is old footage. The footage I'm seeing here is California footage, but I think he moved to Hawaii and did it again. So let's watch this quick video from ABC 7.
Didn't serve that 5 years. He was paroled in August of last year against the wishes. Remember this guy driving a Tesla, terrorizing other drivers in a number of Southern California road rage incidents a few years ago? Well, his name is Nathaniel Rademacher. He's been arrested again, this time in Hawaii. Rademacher was charged with multiple counts of assault in LA County in January of 2023. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison, but he didn't serve that 5 years. He was paroled in August of last year against the wishes of a number of his local victims. In the Hawaii case, he's accused of assaulting an 18-year-old female driver and her mother, who was a passenger, after a traffic incident yesterday in Honolulu. And again, he was behind the wheel of a Tesla. Police arresting Rademacher today, the teen driver's uncle, speaking to us tonight from Hawaii.
I would hope that, HPD does prosecute him and do a better job than California, of keeping him behind bars so that hopefully he can at least learn a lesson, maybe get some sort of help. It seems he has anger issues. He's lashing out, and who knows what he might be capable of next. It's only escalating.
We've learned there was also an infant in the victim's car as well. Again, Nathaniel Rademacher is in jail in Honolulu tonight. He'll be facing a judge soon to learn the official charges he will face there.
So, I mean, it's less even about this guy. It's like this with all sorts of stuff. And this is a very small example because a lot of the times we're talking about rapists, people that have committed way more violent crimes than this, that sometimes people that actually murdered someone and got a 20-year sentence and they're out in 5. And then, guess what? They murder someone else. Like, this is happening a lot, not just in California, but in leftist cities. And ironically, if a man goes to jail for rape, like violently rapes a woman, gets sent into prison, and then he decides, I'm a woman now, California and Gavin Newsom will say and Scott Wiener will say he has a right to go to a women's prison. And they will put convicted rapists in prison with women. They like, can you guys wrap your brain around how insane that is? Like, the things that I actually say out loud sometimes, I'm just like, that's really happening. That's like actually happening. This isn't a joke. This isn't satire. We are in the future. Like, if you would have said this to a Democrat, California Democrat, back in 2010, that in 2025, there's going to be male convicted rapists that say they are trans now, and the California government will put them in a women's prison, convicted rapists, and men will decide while they're in college that they're a woman now and they'll start competing in women's sports. California Democrats, the Obama voters, the Bernie Sanders people, they all would have said, you're insane. That's insane. That's never going to happen. This isn't a Democrat thing. This like Democrats aren't Democrats anymore. They're this radical, progressive, psychotic party. And that's why so many people have left the Democratic Party and they're politically homeless. You know, like a lot of people are considered on the right now, but it's not because they move far to the right. It's just because it's like, no, you guys are absolutely insane. I can't have anything to do with this. And it usually takes some sort of event, like someone's daughter getting something horrible happening to her, or watching somebody get attacked by someone that's been let out of prison multiple times, or tons of different issues with illegal immigrants, or insane prices, or climate policy or gas prices, all these different things. And it's like people have like a breaking point. Like, oh geez, what's her name? The workout lady. Her name's slipping my mind right now, but she used to be a hardcore. Why am I blanking on her name? She used to be like a Peloton person or something like that. Something Michaels. Why don't you guys help me in the chat here? Something Michaels. She used to be like a hardcore Democrat, a progressive. And it's funny because like hardcore Democrats and progressives, they don't seem to pay attention as much. And then they find out later, like, wait a minute, this thing's actually happening. Like if you told regular California Democrats, people that vote blue, Jillian Michaels, thank you, Northside, people, the vote blue no matter who people, if you told them like, yeah, there's men in women's prisons right now, biological men, big gnarly biological men, some of which have been convicted for sexual crimes against women, are put into a cell with women. I'm like, no, they're not. That's not happening. And then if you talk about like the women or the men and women's sports thing, they'll be like, it's happening so seldomly. It's not even a thing. It's only happening here or there. Yeah, but every time it happens, that biological male dominates all the other females. So sure, maybe it's only one biological female in every 1,000, or biological male in every thousands of females that are actually competing. Well, guess what? He's going to beat all 1,000 of those females. So yeah, per capita, I guess it may not be happening a lot, but there's probably one, like I'm a cross-country guy. There's probably one biological male competing against women in every school district in California. I'd be willing to bet. So they're going to dominate. They're going to win state. They're going to win every single meet. I'm getting worked up again. You guys. Let's keep going. How do you even get on that? We're talking about a guy in a road rage incident. So, okay. So, here's more homeless fraud. Here's more homeless fraud stuff, but I think this is out of New York. So this is something very similar, but more radical leftist. So let me check the chat over on Rumble. For some reason, I couldn't stream directly to Rumble from StreamYard tonight. So Northside, these are the people inflicting the homeless upon us, and they're looking for more homeless bums to move. Northside over on Rumble. Think about it. What to do? What do you need to do more when you're unemployed in bum management? You need more bums. Yeah, exactly. Yes, they don't have an incentive to fix the problem. Scarlett, stop that. She licks my pillow, you guys. My dog licks my pillow, and then I go to lay down and the pillow's all wet. It's gross. It's really gross. I can see her right now. She's not even supposed to be up there. But yeah, she's just licking my pillow for whatever reason. Why do you do that, Scarlett? Why do you lick my pillow? Go lay down. Go lay down, you jerk. Okay. Let's keep going here. This is again from Wall Street Apes. You can't tell I like this account. He reports on California stuff a lot, so I like to go through his stuff a lot. So it just says fraud. California gave taxpayer money to a company meant for the homeless. The company used $11.6 million in city funds to pay for a security company it owned, with executives pocketing nearly $400,000 from that arrangement. One NGO head paid himself $1 million in a year. You got to love the irony, making sure no one steals money from the homeless while you're there busy stealing money from the homeless. So, never mind. This looks like it's a New York story, but let's go here. Let's just watch this.
Here's a headline you don't see every day. Homeless shelter executives make millions. If irony paid rent, New York City's homeless problem would be solved overnight. One nonprofit head paid himself $1 million in a year. He's making more money than most CEOs, and they at least pretend to care about their customers. Another company used $11.6 million in city funds to pay a security company it owned, with executives pocketing nearly $400,000 from that arrangement. You gotta love the irony, making sure no one steals money from the homeless while they're busy stealing money from the homeless. If you want to see real hustlers in New York City, skip Times Square and check out the contracts with City Hall.
Please like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, so that was actually about New York, but the exact same thing's happening here in California. You can see it's a widespread problem. It's a giant money grift, what these people are doing. Okay, so yeah, let's more Gavin Newsom blaming the tariffs. The tariffs are what's the problem here in California. Let's watch this quick clip. Gavin went on Fox Business to, spread his propaganda.
And what my fear is, it's not my fear, it's the reality. We've seen an 11% decline last month in tourism in the state of California. We're projecting after record-breaking tourism spend. We're seeing the impacts already of this tariff war. We're seeing the impacts with dock workers.
Okay, so he's trying to say that tourism is down by 11%. When did Trump's tariffs go into effect? A month ago? Where is he getting this data from? This data is not going to be from within the last month. This data is this 11% that he's referring to. This has nothing to do with Trump's tariffs. This is what you're seeing on the video here. People aren't coming to California, places like LA and San Francisco, which used to be tourist hotspots, because you can't park your car and leave your luggage in there because it'll get stolen. You might get robbed. You're seeing homeless all over the place. Everything's insanely expensive. The nightlife isn't what it used to be because, nothing's recovered from COVID. Nothing's recovered from COVID shutdowns, I should say. That's why tourism isn't coming to California. It has nothing to do with Trump's tariffs. And he's trying to associate Trump's tariffs with California tourism being down. Again, not taking any accountability from any of the policies that they put in place that has made California not a desirable tourist destination anymore. He's blaming Trump and his tariffs.
Seeing the impacts with truckers, with small businesses, with my own eyes. This is not an intellect.
Small businesses that he told to shut down for a year and a half, many of which never came back. Those are the small businesses he's talking about.
Exercise. So if it wasn't so chaotic, I would at least engage in a very,
look at this is the iconic Hollywood Walk of Fame with the stars, all the Hollywood stars. You guys remember the movie Pretty Woman? You guys remember that movie, right? This was not allowed in California before. You weren't allowed to just sleep on the streets. The cops would come and they would say, you got to move or we're taking you to jail. You weren't allowed to sleep on park benches. You weren't allowed to do this. You had to, we've always had a homeless problem, but people used to go and sleep in dumpsters or sleep behind dumpsters, places where they'd be out of the eye of law enforcement and they'd at least be, there's far less of them. So they, it wasn't, not like this is a desirable life, but when you can get money from the city every month on a debit card, you just have to go and say, yeah, I'm homeless, sign up for their program. You're going to get monthly money put on your debit card. The non-governmental organizations will drive around the neighborhood that you're homeless in and just hand out drug paraphernalia, crack pipes and fentanyl needles. So you don't even have to pay for those. You don't have to find those. And then they allow fentanyl dealers to just deal openly. Then they don't get prosecuted. Many of them are in beds with the cartels. All of these three things working together make our homeless population skyrocket because it's good to be homeless in California because of our weather. It's not cold at night. It's one of the main reasons we've always had a homeless problem. But now you're looking at the Hollywood Walk of Fame on this. This is 1, 2, 3 people at least. There might be a fourth person there sleeping right on the sidewalk, broad daylight, strung out on drugs. And we just allow this. Again, 15 years ago, this would have been unheard of. You couldn't even smoke a joint out in public without getting arrested by the cops. Now you can shoot up fentanyl and smoke crack.
A reasonable conversation about addressing those issues with a little bit more muscularity. But this is recklessness. And I cannot impress upon you, you know this, the impacts can't be unwound quickly and easily. And I fear that Geneva is not going to be a success. It needs to be. I'm promoting that success, but I very much fear that the nature of the decision making that seems to come on news cycles, not on the basis of a grand strategy, is the great impediment in terms of getting to the place we all want to go. You know what?
Rooftop Gen X over on Rumble. Nice to see you, man. Scarlett's doing great. She's like back to 100%. So she didn't eat for like 4 days. It was definitely scary. It was the grossest thing ever too. It was. I won't go into too much detail, but let's just say when her abscess drained, it was gross. It was very gross. Still don't know what bit her. I still think it was like a dry rattlesnake bite. Like she got bit by a rattlesnake, but it didn't inject a lot of venom because it was way too gnarly to be a black widow bite. But the other thing that we have up here that I forgot about is we have scorpions up here. So she got bit by something. I don't know what it was. And, you know, she was like shaking and convulsing and shit. It was bad, but she's pretty much 100% now. She was on some super heavy antibiotics. She's walking around behind me being a nutcase. So keep going here. Still California stuff. See, I wanted to be done with this in an hour, but I'm not. All right. So this is just weird. You guys heard about the blue rain thing? The blue rain happening? Other countries have been reporting it, but I guess it's being reported here in California now. So let's watch this one. So many of you guys, Californians, this is happening throughout the country, but in California, it's the whole chemtrails thing. People call you a crazy conspiracy theorist, but the cloud seeding weather manipulation shit has been happening for a very long time. There's two different aspects of it. There's cloud seeding to make it rain, and then there's also releasing like aluminum iodide. I think it's aluminum iodide into the clouds, and that's meant to reflect the sunlight to help global warming. So it's being done. You guys, I mean, what I've been doing lately is when I see a plane flying at super high altitude and it's, you know, got a big long contrail coming off of it and it's starting to spread out and then it gets hazy shortly after that. When those planes are flying overhead, I immediately pull up my Flight Track 24 or Flight something 24 app that allows you to track airplanes. What is it again? It's what is that app? Flight Radar 24. You can pull up the app, just go to your map, and you can see every plane flying overhead. So what I've started doing is when I see these planes flying overhead with contrails coming out of the back of them, I open up the app and I try to find, I'm in the Santa Cruz Mountains, so it's really easy to find the planes that are flying right overhead because they're much more spread out. If you're down in like Mountain View or Sunnyvale or whatever, you're going to see dozens of planes overhead at any particular time, so it's hard to determine what plane. Me being way up here in the Santa Cruz Mountains, there's only one plane anywhere within 20 miles of each other, so it's really easy to find the plane. Well, a lot of the times, in fact, the majority of the times, when I see a plane flying at super high altitude, just dropping one of those contrails behind it, I open up the app and no plane on the app. It's weird. It's almost like that plane doesn't exist. And it's just weird. But anyway, this is from Wall Street Apes again. Video number 1, blue rain reported in the Central Valley, California. This area has three weather modification programs. Video 2 and 3 are both reported out of Texas. Blue rain again. Texas has 7 major cloud seeding programs. Video 4, purple rain reported in Colorado. Colorado has 8 cloud seeding programs. So watch the first one.
So I live here in the Central Valley, and it was raining.
This is
So I live here in the Central Valley, and it was raining a couple minutes ago. Can anyone explain the blue water?
Now, this could very well be a very elaborate prank.
Hey, we're camping.
It could very well be a very elaborate prank that a lot of people are playing.
Hey, we're camping in this beautiful state park in Texas, and it's been raining, and the water that's coming out of the sky is blue, and it's not this tarp because it's happening on this tarp too. Look at that. This is crazy. Are they chemtrailing us in Texas?
Got a motherfucking Blue Lake right here. How much would it take for you to drink that water? How much money? Got a motherfucking Blue Lake right here.
Purple Rain, Denver, Colorado, the 7th of May, 25.
And this is the water that's on top of my hot tub. And also over here, we have this little bowl out here for our dog. Check this out. It's all purple. From the rain.
So this could be some very elaborate prank. Just people are seeing the videos on the internet and then going out, and all they have to do is dump some dye in the water and it makes a different color. But I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of these videos, the blue rain crap. So I don't know. You guys tell me. What do you guys think? I think it's Bob Tiergarten methylene blue. What is that? I don't know what that is, man. So yeah, that's just, I don't know. It's very odd to me. So we'll keep going here. All right. So this is like the last, one of the last stories out of California here. So Gavin Newsom created a like ministry of truth, and it's hilarious. He lies so much, and he gets fact checked, and so many people talking shit to him over on X that he decided to create his own misinformation website. So this is from Politico. Newsom jabs at MAGA trolls as he broadens information war. The California governor has launched a rapid response website to check conservative criticism. What's funny is there's this guy named Brandon something or other who's on X, who runs the governor of California X account, not Gavin Newsom's account, but like the Governor Newsom account. And if you go to his bio, it says rapid responder for Gavin Newsom. So Governor Gavin Newsom has launched a website fact-checking anonymous X accounts in state Republicans and President Donald Trump escalating a campaign to defend his home state and record against false and misleading information online. The governor voraciously consumes conservative media and has adopted creative strategies to counter its influence by appearing on Fox News, deploying staff to counter criticism on X, and creating another site to fact-check claims about this year's fires in Los Angeles. This latest expansion of his efforts, first reported here, establishes a more comprehensive website that goes beyond tackling a deluge of false information about the fires. Governor plans to use the site funded by his campaign for Democracy Political Action Committee. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to read this whole freaking article because I don't have time. But basically, Gavin launched a Ministry of Truth website. So here's the website. Let's go to his website here. So this is the first thing. This from the Steve Hilton show. So he's running for governor, Steve Hilton. One party rule has ruined California. Prices are skyrocketing and people are leaving the state at record pace. Yet Democrats still won't claim any accountability for the problems they created. And it says false claim. People are fleeing California. In fact, our population is growing. So it's not, people are fleeing, but yes, California's population did grow a little bit in this last year. But who fled and who came in? Was it highly productive, high-wage people that fled California? And then was it illegal immigrants that came into California because we're a sanctuary state and we offer more services and funding to illegal immigrants than any other state? So what's the trade-off here? And is it really false? People are fleeing California. So I took this clip. This is you guys should watch California Insider. It's a great show. It's all just, it goes in depth in a lot of different problems that are plaguing California here. So this is a post from me. I clipped this video. We'll just watch it really quick. So this gentleman claims that 79% of jobs pay under the U.S. median under the U.S. median income. So 79% of jobs in California, they're making less money than the median income in the rest of the country. where California is the most expensive rent, most expensive utilities, most expensive gas, most expensive food, most expensive everything. And nearly 80% of the people aren't making the median income that they're making in other states. That's a huge freaking problem. So let's watch this quick clip here from California Insider.
The other point is that California's population growth or maintenance is highly related to migration from outside the United States. And
so it's
who knows what's
right?
going to happen now with all of this latest tightening of immigration restrictions. So I'm not counting on that. Unemployment is higher in California than it is elsewhere. It's been like that for a little while. The bigger problem in my mind are not the big macro numbers. It's the quality. When you peel those numbers apart and you look at the quality of, say, job creation, we're not creating the kind of jobs that people can afford to live on here. If you look at since COVID as an example, 79% of the jobs created in California, or of the jobs total in California, pay under the U.S. median income. California median income is always higher than the U.S. median income by a substantial amount. These are jobs that pay under the U.S.
79%.
79% of the total jobs. So you think about it, if it were just statistics and math, right? If you have medians, it should be 50% above, 50% below. 79% of the jobs in California pay under the median income for the United States. That's not good. Now, that's since COVID. Before COVID, it was also high. It was in the 60s, but now it's really shot up quite a bit. So the number of jobs being created are being created in these low industry sectors.
So what does that mean? If the California median income is still higher than the rest of the country, but 79% of Californians are making below the rest of the country's median income, that means that 20% of Californians are super rich and 80% of Californians are essentially poor. We have hollowed out the middle class completely in California through policy, especially since COVID, with all of the lockdowns, all the people that fled because their small businesses closed, plenty of other shit, like they didn't want their kids being subjected to all the trans ideology shit in schools. But really think about that. 80% of Californians make lower than the median income in the United States, but Californians' median income is still higher than the rest of the United States. So that means it's 21% of Californians that are making all of that money to make the average median income that much higher. So essentially 80% of California is poor. It's bonkers. It's freaking bonkers. So this is back to Gavin Newsom. Let's go back to Gavin Newsom's website here really quick. So one of his things here, I had his website up. Oh yeah, this one right here. So one of the things, so you guys see this one. Let me make it a little bigger so you can see it. So this one here says LA Fire Department did not have to, okay, no, I'm sorry. Firefighters did not, oh geez. There, sorry, this one on the right here. California did not run out of water while fighting the LA wildfires. Water reservoirs in Southern California were at record levels. There were no shortage of water in Southern California. That's the fact check. Everybody knows about the, the Santa Ynez Reservoir in Pacific Palisades that ran dry, or didn't run dry, didn't have any water in it because it has a cover that had a hole on it, that it had a hole in it for over a year and it never got refilled, never got fixed so they could refill the reservoir. And then they had 3 main water tanks that were filled off of the reservoir. So they're 1 million gallon water tanks. So one runs dry, second one runs dry, third one runs dry. All of a sudden the fire hydrants are out of water. Where if that reservoir was filled, once the tank ran dry, it would go to the next tank, and then that first tank would start filling again. Well, that didn't happen. And then the fact check here is California did not run out of water while fighting the LA wildfires. Water reservoirs in Southern California were at record levels. So talking about throughout California, or throughout Southern California, the water reservoir levels were at record highs. But that's not the one that counted. The Pacific Palisades Reservoir was the one that was empty specifically. So let's go over to Kevin Dalton here. And so he's referencing this fact check here. me go back to the screen. He says, Gavin Newsom did not run out of water while fighting the LA wildfires. Reality, here's nearly 7 minutes of Los Angeles residents talking about their homes that burned down during the LA wildfires because California ran out of water. Let's go to this right here.
Fire shock has turned to anger. 4 months after the Palisades fire, shock has turned to anger. Where was the water needed for the battle of fire? 7 on Your Side investigates. And welcome back. I'm David Ono in for Mark Brown.
I'm Michelle Fisher. Thousands of homes were lost in the Palisades fire. And you heard it came to the point where there was no water coming out of the hydrants to put out the flames.
So why did the hydrants run dry? Eyewitness News reporter Josh Haskell is here now with the latest as 7 on Your Side investigates. Josh?
And David and Michelle, as you know, we've been in the Palisades every week since the fire. And on every visit, I've been approached by residents asking how in a city as expensive to live in as Los Angeles, there was a shortage of water to fight the Palisades fire. Misinformation surrounding the water issue hasn't helped. Here's what we found.
They're out of water. It does feel helpless when you're watching it burn and there's just nothing you can do.
The water was shut down.
The water's all off, so you can't go there. I was bucketing out of my jacuzzi in a pool across the way.
Desperate scenes played out in Pacific Palisades on January 7th, 8th, and 9th as residents watched their homes burn and firefighters told them there was nothing they could do because they had no water. When the fire broke out around 10:30 in the morning on January 7th, Tom Dorn and his family didn't leave, choosing to stay behind and try to save their home. But he says at 9:30 p.m., the hose he was using to put out a hotspot near his garage ran dry. His home burned to the ground a few hours later.
We were forced out by lack of resources. It didn't need to happen. It shouldn't have happened. Dozens of friends lost their homes up here. And that, it's a crime.
Through a public records request, Eyewitness News obtained this email from LAFD Public Information Officer Eric Scott on January 9th to top officials in the department, writing in part, "We are experiencing challenges with water pressure while battling the Pacific Palisades fire." But in multiple interviews with the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, officials maintain they never ran out of water. The problem, they say, was that demand reached 4 times the normal use.
We had plenty of water. Our system was working as designed. We were above code requirements, and we have more water than required by the fire code.
We believe that our system performed above and beyond what the requirements of any municipal system would be.
So the requirements need to be higher.
It's not designed for wildfire, protection.
So are you saying that in the state and specifically Southern California, where it's super dry, that they don't have any sort of fire protection system created? Like, that kind of sounds what you're saying, that the fire hydrants that are connected to the Santa Ynez Reservoir aren't designed to fight fires? Is that what you're saying?
According to LADWP, Los Angeles has a single water system, meaning the water supplied to your home is the same water that feeds fire hydrants. The system is designed to put out house fires, not multiple neighborhoods on fire at the same time. Here's how the Palisades gets water.
Here you go.
The 36-inch Westgate trunk line runs from the Stone Canyon Reservoir in Bel Air along Sunset Boulevard to the Palisades. Pump stations move the water from the trunk line to higher elevations in the Palisades, including 3 1-million-gallon tanks.
So there, you guys look at this diagram. Let me go back to this other screen so you can see better. So you see this diagram here. You got the Santa Ynez Reservoir. I don't know if you can see my cursor here. You got the Santa Ynez Reservoir, that's the red line, and it feeds into pump station number 1. Pump station number 1, the pump station feeds to these 3 separate water tanks. So these water tanks may be full, but if the Santa Ynez Reservoir is empty, once those tanks run dry, you're out of water. That's it. The Santa Ynez Reservoir was empty because it had a hole in the cover and they didn't fix it.
tanks and the 117 million gallon Santa Ynez Reservoir, which has been out of service for over a year. On January 7th, the Marquez Knolls tank in the Palisades ran dry just hours into the fire at 4:45 p.m. Then at 8:30 p.m., the trailer tank in the Palisades Highlands ran dry. And by 3 in the morning on January 8th, the Temescal tank was empty.
We had a lot of different hydrants being used simultaneously. And also the fact that certain properties, they left the water running to saturate the area.
And when a structure is destroyed, water is just flowing. There's no way to control it. So imagine having a straw having 4,800 holes.
But that doesn't make up for the fact that the reservoir was empty. And there's only one pump station filling 3 different tanks. So it probably the pump probably doesn't even work well enough to fill all 3 tanks up fast enough to fight these fires. So this whole thing's like a massive infrastructure failure. Like the design was poor, the reservoir was empty, and they're still saying like, oh, well, it was above code standards and this and that. But a whole neighborhood burned down. A really wealthy neighborhood burned down, and nobody's taking accountability.
And you're trying to push the water to the end point. You just can't get the water to it.
It took 2 days before LADWP crews could get back into the Palisades to turn off the water at the homes that had burned. Attorney Roger Bailey is suing the LADWP on behalf of more than 750 Palisades residents.
The water supply system in the Palisades was not maintained properly, it wasn't repaired properly, and that left firefighters with the inability to use the resources they so desperately needed. Some people say, well, all the water in the world wouldn't have made a difference. We know that several property owners, including Rick Caruso, had his own private firefighting team that had water and resources and were able to save several structures.
So Rick Caruso, the guy that ran for mayor of LA against Karen Bass and lost, he saw these fires coming and he was like, you know what, we got to send water trucks out to downtown and try and save all these structures. And he did. He hired his own private fire department and they went and they saved that area. It's a very, the anarchists out there are like, yeah, see, government inefficient, private. So there it is right there. So he was prepared and he saved an entire, like 2-3 blocks worth of businesses in Pacific Palisades.
A centerpiece of Bailey's.
And people are mad at Rick Caruso for that. They're mad at him. Like, why didn't you? It's so funny.
Case is the Santa Ynez Reservoir located in the hills of Pacific Palisades, which has been offline since January 2024 because of repairs to its cover. Numerous investigations are underway, including one ordered by Governor Newsom, into why the reservoir was out of service and what difference it would have made in fighting the fire. Retired LADWP General Manager Marty Adams tells Eyewitness News he doesn't believe the reservoir would have saved the Palisades, but it could have helped.
Any amount of water is good. Any amount of water would help the situation.
But Bailey and retired...
So you got to think, too, this wasn't just that the firefighters were fighting all of these massive structural blazes. They had to put out hotspots. I lived through fires in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and what makes your house burn is these slow creeping hotspots along the ground that eventually reach the walls of your house, and then they go up the walls, and next thing you know, your whole house is engulfed. So if you could fight those little hotspots as you go, you can prevent a structure from burning down. So yeah, any amount of water would have saved a bunch of structures because it's not like all the houses were burning at all the same time. There's these slow creeping fires going towards houses and little hot spots that you can put out. So, yeah.
LAFD Battalion Chief Mike Castillo, who is assisting the legal team, says there's no doubt the reservoir would have boosted the water supply.
I defy anybody to explain to me how having an extra 117 million gallons of water was inconsequential.
I've fought many, many fires, commercial fires. We've had some low water pressure, but in those instances, the DWP at our request was able to boost the pressure, and I've never had an instance in the city of LA where I've ran out of water. Something went wrong.
The hurricane-force winds in the Palisades grounded air support the evening of January 7th, but Castillo, who worked the Skirball and Getty fires also in the Santa Monica Mountains, says firefighters on the ground are trained to put out embers that land in neighborhoods during a wind-driven fire.
That puts 100% of the firefight on the ground resources. that need the tools to do their job, such as water.
Holy
Everything. I mean, we did the best we could.
For Tom Doran, shock has turned to anger.
One fire engine at the top of the block at 10:30 when we came back around, but it was just parked up there. There was no water. They couldn't do anything. There's my house. Gone.
Now, the Palisades has 1,000 fire hydrants. LADWP says they found out after the fire from the LAFD, whose job it is to inspect those hydrants, that roughly 12 of those in the Palisades needed repairs. It's unclear whether the damaged hydrants played a role in the water pressure issues. We reached out to the LAFD for an interview, but they were not able to make someone available.
All right. So, again, back to Gavin Newsom's fact check here, where he says California did not run out of water while fighting the LA wildfires. So listen, it's so dubious. It's sinister almost, the choice of words that they use, because that statement is true. Yeah, California did not run out of water. The entire state did not run out of water, you guys, while they were fighting the LA water fires. Just the very specific reservoir that was needed to fight the fires ran out of water. So he's not lying. That's their fact check, saying that all the other reservoirs in California were nearly at capacity. So we didn't run out of water. Yes, California didn't. The firefighters fighting the fires in Pacific Palisades ran out of water. So that's what they do. That's how they fact check. These people are evil. These people are absolute scumbags, and they're freaking evil. So let's keep going with the LA fires crap, because the fires themselves were just the beginning of all this. So let's go over to again, Wall Street Apes. Oh wait, let's go to this one. This is sad. This is from Kevin Dalton again. So the rebuilding process and how much money it's going to cost to rebuild the Pacific Palisades is never going to be the same. And if it is ever the same, it won't be for another 20 or 30 years, 15 at the best. So this is a sad video, and it's actually put out from the New York Times, strangely. But let's just watch this and look at the nightmare that people are dealing with. People that never would have moved out of the home that they bought. You know, a lot of these homes in the Pacific Palisades were bought back in the 70s, the 60s. So they got them for a good deal, and then they're worth, millions of dollars, sometimes tens of millions of dollars. They never were going to sell. They're going to live in those houses for the rest of their lives. They got an amazing view. They live out in nature. Why would they ever move? Well, now, they just don't have the money to rebuild. They just don't have it. Let's watch this video that the New York Times put out. It was actually pretty good, from the New York Times, believe it or not.
Across the Pacific Palisades neighborhood of Los Angeles, home listings are popping up all over the place. But when you go to the property, all that's left are charred remains.
This lot they have listed for $2.5 million. That one they have listed for $1,650,000. This one is listed for $2.5 as well.
So that's just the land, you guys, and that's before the fire, the debris has been cleaned up. Well, it looks like some of these lots are cleaned up, but this one doesn't look like it's cleaned up yet. Listed for $2.5 million, just the burned down lot.
So it's been weeks since the fires, and now homeowners are slowly starting to make a decision on whether to stay and rebuild or sell and move on. As of this week, about 140 lots have gone up for sale, and at least 10 to 20 have already sold.
Think about that, 140 lots in the Pacific Palisades. If you guys don't know the Pacific Palisades, it's not a huge area. It's between Santa Monica and Malibu, and it's right up against the coast, and it's a very hilly area. It's essentially just neighborhoods. 160 homes all listed for sale. Like, if these houses didn't burn down, you might have 2, 3, maybe 10 homes at any given time listed for sale in the Pacific Palisades. Now there's 160 at the same time because the people that lived in those homes can't afford to rebuild them.
I'm going to meet the homeowner of what used to be this home and is now a burned lot. And the lot is on sale for just under $1.9 million.
So the master bedroom was right here, and that tile is a tub shower from the master bedroom. Nobody was able to get back in the house. So all we had were the clothes on our back. No.
So in this guy, I mean, yeah, he's probably fairly well-to-do, but he didn't have a giant mansion in the Pacific Palisades. It was a modest, probably ranch-style home, single story, 4 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms maybe. This isn't like, a celebrity that lost his home.
Papers, no photographs, no memories, no nothing.
Ultimately, what were some of the factors that made you want to sell?
Want to sell? The fire. I mean, we never wanted to sell. We were going to be here forever. We're here for 38 years and loved it. But nature has a way of superseding your plans.
How much would it have cost you to have to rebuild if you wanted to stay?
Above and beyond the insurance, we would be shy by about 1.2 million. That pretty much seals the deal. The reality is, I'm sure it will eventually become a community again, but the people we've known for 38 years, it's like 3/4 of them are gone and are not going to rebuild.
I think people are understanding that the rebuild cost per square foot is more than what they expected, or more importantly, more than what they have insurance for.
I'm curious, though, about who's buying.
I think that the initial purchases will probably be local homeowners that want to pick up another lot and build for their family. And I think that the developers will come in at some point if they start to see prices soften more.
If you stay in rebuild, that might mean being surrounded by construction for several years before the community gets anywhere close to what it used to look like before the fire. And I think generally there's this notion that lightning doesn't strike twice. And if a big fire happened here, you're probably safe for the next 10 to 15 years. But that can be a gamble in California, where wildfires can happen really any time of the year.
So then there's a handful of homes that survived the Palisades fires, and they're surrounded by a neighborhood where everything is burned to the ground. So they're going to be surrounded by construction. Who knows how many people have their power back on yet? They probably don't have their water back on. Did their sewage system get damaged? So the Pacific Palisades were absolutely devastated. And the Eaton fire over near in Altadena, I mean, that's a less wealthy area too. That's a lot of ranch style homes. Same thing in that community, completely devastated. So the nightmare it wasn't just the fires, it's the aftermath of all this. And yeah, these fires were absolutely horrible. Just freaking devastating. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. There's more LA stuff. So this is just it's more of the NGO homeless industrial complex shit where people want to know, like, where did all the money go? Just where does all the money go that we give to these non-governmental organizations? We talked about the lady earlier that paid herself $400,000 a year and laundered a bunch of money 3 separate times through her husband's NGO and through lavish parties, and hired her friends and fired people that were more qualified, all that kind of stuff. And when they try to do investigations, so this is from Wall Street Apes here, and it says, Los Angeles, yeah, I'm not even going to play the video because it's kind of cringe, but Los Angeles City Controller Kenneth Maya says they tried to audit California's homeless spending. It was blocked. A federal judge even ordered an audit of the spending. It was blocked by city attorney's office. We would have done this audit at no additional cost to taxpayers. The backstory on the audit. Carter, the federal judge, initiated the audit after learning that the LA's independently elected city controller is blocked from auditing the mayor's signature homeless program, Inside Safe. So that's the program, Inside Safe. Carter called the situation ridiculous at the hearing in January, adding that the audit overseen by the court may be the only independent review of the city's homelessness spending in decades. The audit has been blocked by the city attorney's office. Officials there say their understanding of the city charter is that they don't allow the controller to audit the performance of a mayoral program unless the mayor consents. So the mayor has to consent to the audit. That position has been disputed by the controller and the chair of the charter committee that wrote the charter language. The city charter says the controller's power include conducting performance audits of the departments and may conduct performance audits of city programs. So it's like the high-speed rail. Like, where did all the money go? right? How can we get any sort of independent investigation? And then it's just Gavin Newsom's buddies conducting an investigation, and they're just like, yep, no crime here. Just all the money's accounted for, but we don't have a rail. All that stuff. It's all just ridiculous. All of it. I won't even talk about this too much. The San Francisco police chief left. He left San Francisco and he's going to what is it? It's he's going down to LA and he's going to start something from the ground up. So Chief Bill Scott is moving to Los Angeles to become the inaugural chief of the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority, newly formed transit police force, starting June 23rd, 2025. So yeah, he's leaving San Francisco to go work a much more comfortable job. So that's a little bit of news out of San Francisco and LA, I guess. All right, I think it's enough California stuff for tonight. Wouldn't you guys say? Enough depressing stuff. So, all right, we'll continue here. I got a little bit of time left. So we'll go to some presidential foreign policy news. So there's been a lot of hubbub coming out of the White House about Trump's relationship with Benjamin Netanyahu. So the first story I'll go to, I'll see. So reported by the Israel Times. So the Times of Israel reports Trump disappointed with Netanyahu will continue Middle East policy objectives without Israel, is what he says. So then Michael Trippi says over here, he says, President Donald Trump says he is amazed by the bravery of the Houthis and their capacity to withstand tremendous punishment. So this has to be pissing off Benjamin Netanyahu because apparently we're not, I think I talked about this last episode. We're not going to bomb the Houthis anymore. We're not doing that. Israel can, but we're not going to do it. We're going to have nothing to do with it. So Trump actually said he finds the Houthis to be brave. Interesting.
But so we take their word for it. It was, we hit them very hard. They had a great capacity to withstand punishment. They took tremendous punishment. And, you could say there's a lot of bravery there. It was amazing what they took. But we honor their commitment and their word. They gave us their word that they wouldn't be shooting ships anymore. And we honor that. But so we take their word for it. It was, we hit them very hard. They had a great capacity.
So Trump actually praising the Houthis a little bit, which is interesting. And so Trump's supposed to visit the Middle East to go visit Iran and I believe Saudi Arabia and one other country. And he's not going to be stopping in Israel. And apparently things are rocky between Trump and Netanyahu. So let's listen to Glenn Greenwald talk about it a little bit.
It's not that easy to get an agreement with the Iranians because the agreement that you need the Iranians to agree to has to be substantially better, or at least somewhat better, than the deal that Obama got with the Iranians, because Trump has been saying for 8 years now that was a terrible deal, a deal that was too weak. So if you can't get the Iranians beyond that to make more concessions than they made to Obama, it's going to be very difficult to get a deal. He can't get a deal that's identical to what Obama got, or people say, well, why did you withdraw in the first place? I believe that Trump does want to get an agreement. I don't think he wants a new Mideast war, major Mideast war. He's talked for years about the horrors and wastes of Middle East wars. But there's a lot of powerful people in Washington and elsewhere who want that war, including the people in Tel Aviv or Jerusalem and their network of funders and influencers and activists, not just Jewish ones, but evangelical ones, very neocon ones, pro-military ones. There's a lot.
Like that douchebag misfit patriot. I can't stand that asshole. He wants us to bomb the shit out of Iran. Anybody that's saying shit like that, I automatically just think, who's paying you? Like, who's paying you to promote war with Iran? It's annoying and it's suspicious.
A lot of factions in Washington that consider this relationship with Israel to be of the highest priority. And for Trump to simply defy that in the way that's being suggested, I want to see a lot more evidence from that. Here is Israel's largest newspaper, Hayam, that reported today, Trump sidelines Netanyahu in Middle East policy as relations deteriorate. So it's not just coming from the American press or the Middle East or Arab press. It's coming from establishment Israeli media outlets. Quote, earlier this week, we reported that Netanyahu was frustrated with Trump. Now it appears the American president has also lost patience with his Israeli counterpart. Two senior figures in Trump's circle stated in recent closed-door conversations, whose content reached Israel Hayom, that Trump has decided to stop waiting for Israel and instead wants to move forward with Middle East initiatives without Netanyahu. The sources explain that the president wishes to make decisions he believes will advance American interests, particularly regarding Saudi Arabia and Gulf states. Israel was supposed to participate in some of those steps, referring primarily to normalization with Saudi Arabia. That has been the kind of golden goose that Israel has been chasing. They hope to establish normalized relations with the Sunni states, and especially the very wealthy Gulf state countries that are close to the United States and to the West, United Arab Emirates and Qatar, and especially Saudi Arabia, because then they would feel like they had a union against Iran. The problem is the Saudis have said always that we can't normalize relations with Israel until they resolve the problem of the Palestinians being denied a state. And there was probably not that much authenticity or conviction behind that Saudi position for a long time, but once October 7th happened, and the Israelis just openly began blowing up all of Gaza, and obviously people in the Middle East especially are seeing that every day from Al Jazeera, from other outlets. They see it even more than we do. In fact, a lot more than we do. It basically became just no longer feasible for even these tyrannical governments like Saudi Arabia and the Emirates and Qatar to normalize relations with Israel while they're destroying Gaza without the Palestinians getting any consideration. And I think there's some extent to which people believe, and I think it's certainly viable, that part of Hamas's intent in attacking on October 7th was a fear that the Saudis were going to just go ahead and don't really care about the Palestinians, and we're going to just keep that on the back burner. They were moving toward normalization, and they launched October 7th to reprioritize, to put on the front burner the issue of the Palestinians, to make it impossible for those other countries to normalize relations with Israel. This Israeli paper goes on, quote, however, according to Trump's perspective, Netanyahu is delaying making the necessary decisions. Given the situation, the president refuses to wait until Israel takes its expected actions and is proceeding without Israeli participation. Furthermore, Trump is furious about what he views as an attempt by Netanyahu and his team to pressure National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, who has since been dismissed from his position, toward military action in Iran. Netanyahu claimed in response to the publication of this matter in the Washington Post that he spoke with Waltz only once. However, Trump remained unconvinced.
So I think a lot of this, the rocky relationship that's going on between Trump and Netanyahu right now, is it kind of looks like Israel put a spy into Trump's administration. We all know how much money he got from Miriam Adelson, and a lot of people would speculate that that's why Marco Rubio's in the position that he's in. But Mike Walls was probably a hand-picked guy to be put in the Trump administration that would be highly favorable to Israel. But it looks like even more than that, with him using that Signal app on the House floor that wasn't just Signal. It was this, what was it called, like T1 Signal or some shit, where it literally sends the information from Signal to the Israeli government. It really seems that Mike Walls was essentially a spy for Israel. And I think this might be the whole thing for why Israel, or Netanyahu specifically and Trump specifically, are on the rocks right now. It's like, dude, did you put a spy in my administration? Is that what's going on right now? Because all of this stuff started happening after all this Mike Walls Signalgate shit went down.
So there's a lot going on here. I just want to focus on a couple parts of it. When Mike Waltz was fired as Trump's national security advisor after not even barely 100 days, people were very surprised. I was certainly surprised because Trump was unwilling. He did not want to feed Democrats or the media a hat on a pike. And that's why he defended Mike Waltz even after Signalgate, which of course should have resulted in his firing. You cannot let a journalist accidentally into a planning room for a bombing campaign that you're about to launch imminently and then basically lie about what happened afterwards. It just gave Mike Waltz this stench of loserness, which is the thing that Trump hates most. But what really infuriated Trump was, and there were lots of reports about this, was that Mike Waltz was knowing that Trump wanted to avoid war in Iran, knowing that Trump was trying hard to get an agreement with Iran so that he doesn't have to go to war with Iran, was plotting with Netanyahu behind Trump's back on basically how to proceed with this Israeli attack, which would force the United States to be involved. And I absolutely believe that Trump was enraged when he learned of that, and not just at Mike Waltz, but at Netanyahu as well. And then there's this other issue with normalization and better relations that the U.S. might pursue with these Gulf state dictatorships. The Biden administration could have reached agreements with the Saudis, with the Emiratis, with the Qataris for much closer ties. But Biden was unwilling to do that unless Israel was satisfied, unless Israel believed that its interests were also being solved. So yet again, Biden sacrificed American interests that could have been advanced with agreements in greater proximity to these very wealthy countries because he didn't want to upset the Israelis and Israel supporters in the United States. And Trump seems to be saying, and maybe this is for some venal reasons as well, Trump is very, very interested in the money that comes from the Persian Gulf. And Jared Kushner went and signed a $2 billion deal with the Saudis for his investment fund. They've been profiting in all sorts of ways with the Emiratis and with the Saudis. And so Trump perceives it to be not only in America's interest, but I think in his interest to get these deals that would bring closer proximity with these Gulf states in particular. And Trump, when it comes to his interests, or more broadly, the U.S. interest, just if he wants to do something, he's not going to care as much as Biden did about whether it angers Netanyahu.
All right. So looks like the U.S.-Israeli relationships are rocky right now, specifically Trump and Netanyahu. So it's interesting to see. It's interesting to see what is currently happening and what's going to happen in the future. So, yeah, I mean, it's even being reported, and I don't know how accurate this is because it's from the America First Post, but which I believe is like Nick Fuentes' organization. I could be wrong about that though. But he says the AF Post says a Gulf diplomatic source has stated that President Trump will soon issue a declaration regarding American recognition of Palestine. This comes amid the strained relationships between Trump and Netanyahu due to the Israeli prime minister's attempts to sabotage American nuclear negotiations with Iran. So I don't know how accurate that is, but if true, that is wild. That is super wild. Yeah, they cite their sources, but I haven't heard anybody else talking about this. So take that with a grain of salt. Trump recognizing Palestine as a state. So I don't know. Take it with a grain of salt. Everything very interesting. Very interesting to see how this whole relationship is changing. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, folks. I have a bunch of other stuff that I intended on getting into, but any other story is going to take probably half an hour to go through, so I don't have the time to do it, folks. And I think I'm going to call it a night for that. That's all I'm going to cover tonight. So I think that is it. I will be back on Wednesday. I'm going to try and do a show every Sunday and Wednesday, and maybe even Saturday as well. So I'm getting back in the swing of things here. I got my new studio set up. I'm hoping I can get some new equipment soon as well. Start doing some more interviews. Yeah, so that is all I got for tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I appreciate it. All you guys in the chat, Bob Tiergarden, Northside, Rooftop, Wally World over on YouTube, all you guys over on X. I appreciate it. Love you guys. You're the best. Before we get out of here, you know how we do it. We got to tell a joke from the greatest book ever written, The Truth About Chuck Norris. What do we have tonight? Let's see. All right, here we go. Chuck Norris joke of the evening. So this is all I got tonight, folks. I hope you enjoyed the show. It is commonly known that Eve was created from the rib of Adam. but few know that Chuck Norris was actually created using Adam's genitals. And on that note, stay Cali-based.